Had a new alteration. Had some new windows put in, but you know, cinemas do not have windows. I only keep this window here. Got to put these panels back up. I'm only going to use a few screws. I don't have to use a whole lot of them. Like I've used there, about 30 screws. I couldn't believe how many screws I used to put this up. So okay. I've been thinking about doing another video. I'm not going to mention, because I don't want to give my rivals, home cinema rivals out there any hint. I'll just do a video because you know, because I know there's a lot of other people out there and they'll say, oh, this, that, blah, 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 black sheep. And my voice is a little bit because I did a video the other night or whatever. I was talking for hours. How can I do that, possibly? Because I like to have a little bit of a voice like this because it makes me feel a little bit feminist. Yeah, I just had some cough medicine, so that might take the edge off. Yeah, so I'm going to put these panels back up. Just a little bit there, because, you know, these panels didn't totally fit when they were cut, because they were just, you know, unless I get a sheet of MDF, I think, it'll just go 4x4, I think. No, not 4x4, 4x8 or something, or whatever, because they come in different sizes. Yeah, I could get a sheet of that cut and delivered. So I'll just use what I've got, just utilise it. Nothing right or wrong with it. So this is the front part. So I've got to re-stick everything on. I've got to put the JBL back up there. Yeah, bit of a mess that went, sort of thing, with the. But I put some bloody liquid nails in there, and that went pretty hard. I could put another bit in there and smooth it, and then probably have to use the sander I've got, which I haven't even used yet. What's the point of buying a sander and you don't use it? You know, it's a sander to equalise. But you know, I found that when putting these up, mounting these, oh gosh, I don't know when. Yeah, I found that some of the brickwork was, you know, pretty loose and such, and I thought, oh, okay. So I'll put some liquid nail, drill the hole, masonry drill, and then pump some liquid nail, you know, into the hard as nail sort of thing, into each hole, and then put the wall plug in. They've held up. Liquid nails is cheap and does it like no other. Looks like an impact crater, like on the moon. Going close. You would, wouldn't you? You'd think, oh wow, what's that? Kind of do a pan very slightly, you know. It's like, and then cut the video. Say rare moon footage from China. Yeah, right, sure. Also, I got the other acoustical tiles, so I'm going to glue those I'm going to glue those onto the back of the, because otherwise that sort of sound sort of thing. Not that it's a big deal, but still you get sound coming from the window. They're not perfect by far. If I were to, I don't have to, but I could put a microphone up there during daytime, measure the microphone near the window, one microphone back here, measure it on the REM RTA reverberation sort of thing, so I could see what the, you know, what frequencies there are, you know, to tackle. And then it's a case of going in with materials, very simple, simplistic, affordable, and then just applying. But anyway, yeah, that's doable. But I'll just do this, and then that should just, you know, it'll just muffle it back there, sort of thing, you know. Unless I use a lot of rock wool, well, rock wool slab, and then cut it to size so it kind of pushes in, like it kind of makes that sound when it presses up against the top and the bottom, and it makes that, and I know it's kind of like tucked in there very nicely, and then bring it down to here, and then I can't go any further because I've got to put the extractor fan out the window every time there's a heat wave each spring. So I'm just applying. This doesn't do bass frequencies. Do bass frequencies, it has to be ridiculously thick. And your room has to be ridiculously large. And then, you know, once you put the ridiculously thick, you know, things in, guess what? Your room size diminishes, just like a TARDIS. You know, only it's not like a TARDIS. You know, it's kind of claustrophobic. Then you got to have you got to have it all designed. You know what's going to go on and what's going to happen with these materials, and yeah. But this will just make it probably not. It just probably take off a bit of the, you know, that certain sound frequency on the back, but it ain't going to do low frequency. Certainly not. If it does a little bit of middle frequency, which it will, it do high frequency, but mostly don't really hear a lot of high frequency on traffic. It's usually because the window's also still, you know, minimizing some of it, so it's usually if measuring it with a microphone, it would be mostly low frequency to mid frequency, mid bass frequency, that is, up to maybe 1 kilohertz or just maybe 2. It depends. But anything like above like, you know, 4 or any high frequency is not possible. It is possible, but not possible. It just wouldn't pass through. It'd be easier for me to put actually there's scaffolding outside. I could put a speaker outside and put it near the window, and to get a more thorough. Now, have I previewed the I've told you what I'm going to do, yeah? Oh, see, there's an opportunity out there that I can use before the scaffolding's gone. I could put a JBL speaker out the window, and then run a frequency sweep. And so I've got the microphone on this side to just see what frequencies are picked up. No point running pink noise, but pink noise, yeah. And then run a frequency sweep, because then the frequency sweep will show me a graph of like, yeah, those what frequencies are typically. But that's only with a loudspeaker that's placed near to the window, not totally close to the window, but near, just to get an approximation. Otherwise, it's very unpredictable with traffic because it's variable. You never know that one day a vehicle coming down the road and it's got an exhaust pipe that sounds so illegal, and you know, it's bloody obnoxious, and you can still hear it about 2,000 yards up the bloody road, and yeah, that's not on. What the bloody hell they think what they got on the bloody car? A bloody jet engine? You think it'd make that ruckus? You think the car would be able to get off the bloody ground? You think it'd have enough thrust acceleration sort of get off the ground? And this is not soundproofing. This is not soundproofing is a totally different sort of thing. Soundproofing is not really expensive when you think about it. But there are those that kind of like want to make it, yeah, because they're bullshitting snake oilers. It is not really that expensive. It is cheap. It's just idealist, using the materials, using some common sense. If you're into sound and all that, just use your common sense. You just got to go out and see what materials are out there. Just because they say this material, actually, I could use other materials. I could use layers and layers and layers and layers of kitchen roll and just fold it over and glue it. It's going to do more or less the same thing. Think about it. If there's something out there I could see and I could think, I wonder if I could possibly utilise that because it looks cheap, you know. But, you know, there are people out there that probably do all the research and that and probably look into this and that, and it might be a conspiracy, you know. It might be a conspiracy that, you know, that, oh yeah, people are going to see these materials, etc. So we got to make, even though it's not going to be acoustical related, and they probably say, oh yeah, we've got to make this kind of pricey sort of thing, whatever. I'm rambling, and you know, just so that you know, it's like these tiles. I mean, they're cheap. But yeah, this is not too much, but it does smell. So I'll just, after I finish doing this, I'll open the window, let it vent for a little, let it vent because oh dear, it smells. Whew. Look at that, it's like a spider web. Yeah. You know, it's like several ways to, you know, I mean, plywood's probably not the best material, and I don't really like it because it's got a bit of a certain sound when you tap it, whereas MDF would have a different sort of sound. It would be a bit bit more dense when you tap it. Yeah, so I'll do a few videos of this sort of thing, you know. Actually, I don't know why I don't use this side for the, just use the other tiles on the opposite side, if you know what I mean, because they're a little bit thicker. It doesn't really matter, you know, if I use, but no, I like to keep the same look, but not that I do. I'm thinking about taking all the tiles down, period, intact as possible as can, intact impossible, and maybe I could reuse them for something else. But thinking of doing the room differently. What, for aesthetic looks, is that going to make me feel happy inside? Not really, because I'm being honest. It won't really make me feel happy honestly on the inside. As long as the sound system is good and I can reach and I can tune it this way, that way, you know, probably far better than someone can tune a Trinov. Because everyone thinks they got a Trinov and they think they're a bloody cinema projectionist. Yeah, well, you missed that boat, I'm afraid. Cinema projectionists today is very few far between now. You missed that boat. No pun intended, but yeah, you just missed that boat, you know. It does feel like it was still, but it's not. It's not. You can go to places where you once thought, once remember seeing something there, and it's not there anymore. It must be a bad dream then, huh? I don't know. As long as all these tiles, as long as they take out the slap echo in the room, where, you know, it's not just the slap echo, you could play a sine wave tone, right? And you can, if you can mute, I haven't switched anything on yet, and if you can mute the button on and off, on and off, on and off sort of thing, it's pretty quick on a, or on an AVR or whatever, mute a specific sine wave, on and off, you might hear a sort of pinging sound. And if you get a sound effect in a movie that comes along, you're going to hear that sort of pinging, like rebounding off the walls and the ceiling. Not necessarily the floor, because it probably most likely be carpeted, but you'd hear a pinging sound, and you may not think much of it, but it will kind of diminish the immersive storytelling. Because it should be belonging, say, maybe up front, and it's pinging, and it's like, but certain frequencies and if you could design a room which is basically simple. If you got this wall is not straight, it's a chimney breast, it sticks out 18 inches, it's not ideal, it's going to act like a base barrier block. It will, you get frequencies coming at a certain angle, and that's pretty thick, and they're going to rebound, and they're going to change the frequency of the change the frequencies, delay, the width, or they just change. It's otherwise small rooms are not ideal. They're not ideal. They're okay, but they're not ideal, they're not perfect. Large ones, they're not perfect. You got to absorb the whole blimmin' place, then you have to, so you don't hear that echo, period. The only echo you should be hearing is what is recorded on the film with effect to create, like, they're in a tunnel or whatever, or typically in music, sometimes if it's badly mixed and everything, they've got too much damn echo and you can't even understand the lyrics, period. But they usually add that in. You don't want additional echo in your room. You do not want it. Absolutely no if, no but, no debate, no voting about this, everybody. You want to stick this treatment, literally, go batshit, go bat crazy, on the ceiling, on the walls, put your carpet down and shut up and listen. Because then you'll be hearing, like, I think I'm hearing more detail of this soundtrack, because it'd be just more, but there's still a little bit more to it. You put your headphones on and listen, and it's like, I can hear all the little details in the background there, and I can hear that. And then you clap your hand in the room, and it's like, I don't hear that echo anymore. You don't need it. It's not going to benefit your bloody sound system, for crying out loud. It doesn't much benefit much. Even cinemas, even downtown, even though it's very short reverberant time, it's still got a bit of echo anyway. But I'd rather it had none. I'd rather they stuck a little bit more the same bloody sound treatment on the bloody ceiling. You don't need to hear that, and make sure all the hard surfaces are all absorbed, and then you don't hear that. You should only hear it on the soundtrack. Nothing more, nothing less. Because you have room that's all, and it just still, you can't just put an acoustical absorbent, these panels up here and one over here and one there. It doesn't work. Because you can walk around the room, start clapping, you're still going to hear it. Got a little bit more nearer to it, guess what? And go, and then move over to where the acoustical panel thing is and go, and it gets absorbed into the, and then you go back to that bare wall. What's the point of half doing it? And those acoustical, there's this one guy on this home theatre, he was making a big deal out of, like, I just got these big, he's got these stupid, captions on the, like, You've seen all that, and it's like to lure you in and think, oh wow, that's great, dude, brilliant, you know. But I don't want to hear that in a bloody room. I want to hear the soundtrack, you know. I don't want to hear the room's bare walls. If I, you know, and then when you go out of the room and then you go into another room and it's like it's all reflective and echoey and such, and it's like, and then you go into it and it's like, it's like, it's not like an anechoic chamber. Anechoic chambers have got bloody material that's what, 24 inches thick or something, depending on, wedge tiling. It's like really, just so that the frequencies, specific frequencies, get absorbed right into, they can't go any then further, but you go then down to low frequencies. That low frequency is going to find a way and get through that material. But it's like, I think if you would have put a microphone behind that material, or put the microphone where the material is going to do the frequency sweep, and then put that material in place, do the frequency again, and it's like, blimey. Yeah, there's quite a bit of absorption. That sound is not quite getting through all that. Oh, great. At least we know it works. That's how I would test things. Not just stick it up, put a microphone in certain place, where you're going to put like a bass trap in the corner and put a microphone over there. See what the frequency is, the specific frequency sweep. And then you can sort of like then see the trade-off of what that bass trap thing is doing or not doing. And then you can say then, yeah, it's not everything they said it was going to be, So yeah, if you would put bass traps in the corner, first put a microphone there, do the frequency sweep, then stick it down, then stick it up, and then maybe you could just push the microphone up behind it all, or have it positioned on a bit of tape or something. And when you're done, just give it a little tug and pull the microphone back down, and then that it's doing that sort of thing. And it would only do that sort of thing, and that's it. And you do a frequency sweep, so you do a frequency sweep, not just your sub bass. I don't know why people think sub bass, it's overrated. You got to do your screen channels, so the screen channel there and there, and you got the microphones behind the bass traps, and then see what the trade-off, see what that material is actually doing. Not just then put the microphone in the middle of the room, which is okay, because the frequencies are going to rebound and then come back to the microphone because they're going very fast around the room so many times in a few milliseconds and then arriving at the microphone. And then you move that microphone over there, move that microphone there, up there, down, put it underneath the seating, put it against your chest. Hey, how about this? How about put it under your ass and even sit on the bloody thing? Because sound is still going to get into the room no matter what. Anyway, I'm rambling. I like rambling. I think my kitties are... I think my cat bear's on the... Subject's on the move, I think he's... Anyway, I'll upload this one. And I'll do the next one. And have another little ramble. Mind you, this is early hours in the morning. I've had a bit of a sleep. I was very ill yesterday. Very, very, very under the weather. I got a very bad tummy, very bad health. Comes on and off, and it's dealing with it, and I'm sick and tired of it. If in all like honesty, I'm hoping that some people would hope I would die. Doesn't bother me. I don't hold any ill feeling towards you. But I thought I was gonna, I was feeling really lousy. Because I get tummy one, and then I was getting other issues, and thinking, I think I'm toast now. I think I'm gonna meet my my sooty, my mum, my dad, and B, travelling the universe maybe in spirit at incredible speed. Or it doesn't really matter because your spirit will probably be internal. I like to believe. But, yeah. But does this bother me, all this? To me, it's just immaterial. To anyone that's got a luxury Trinov and all that, oh no. They probably couldn't even look up the word immaterial in an English college dictionary book, because they're so like, oh dear, they wouldn't know, they wouldn't even understand the word immaterial. And people that say, oh, I love my Trinov, and I'm thinking, what is wrong with this person? Do you think I love my rack? I absolutely do not love my rack. I like it for what it can do or what it cannot do. You cannot love your Bose speaker. You'll love your JTR sub bass. Love your JBL. That is incorrect English. I love my pet cat. I love my birds. I love my dog. I love my family. That's correct English. I don't even think, oh, I love this food. I love this. What? How the bloody hell is a piece of chicken that sacrificed his life how can you possibly love? You could say, well, I like the cooking. I like the spices. What did you use? Yeah, and oh, I'm not telling you. Okay, but I'm coming back for some more. Yeah. Or it's like you go to KFC and it's like, bloody hell, I dislike this. This is bloody horrible. This is all rubbish. And I'm thinking, those poor chickens, those poor little creatures, and they get turned, and they don't even get a better cooking. Not that I endorse that, and not that I think that is acceptable. KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, and every other. Yeah. But if you want to know, I think this equipment there is a load of rubbish. And oh gosh, guy, oh god, you probably died and just gone to heaven while I just said that. Yeah, I can say it again. I think my equipment here is just a total load of bloody garbage trash, a load of rubbish. But I know this: I can do a heck of a lot more than a Trinov. I've read the manual. How many times have I read the manual on that Trinov 32? I don't know. I don't know why I even bother. And yet, I was this close over a year or so ago, I think now. I was about that close to actually buying a Trinov 32. But then someone talked me out of it. And then I thought, no, I think it was just all the hype. I'd rather go to a showroom and try to understand what this thing is with remapping or repositioning, and because if a speaker's there and there, or I wouldn't say incorrectly placed. If it's placed in a specific position, one speaker over there, one speaker here, and the other one's up there, and it sounds kind of like cockeyed or whatever. It's got this thing to. It's got this DSP sort of thing. It's got to be a DSP. It can't be anything else. It's got digital technology to be able to kind of make that speaker that's there sound like it's up there. Well, that sounds like some black magic of using some time delay, phase shifting, probably a combination of both, with a little bit of a twist in it, because it's just like kind of like you mess around with all this DSP stuff, which is common PA equipment's use, and you just mess around with all these appliances, and you think, you stumble on something, and you think, oh, interesting. But at the end of the day, if you were to walk up close to this speaker, you're going to point it like, yeah, that speaker's there, it's not up there, it's there, but where you're positioned, in the room, yeah, sure. All I have to do is mess around, because I've got multi surround array, and if I were to change the time delay slightly, I can make the sound of the speaker. It might be sounding there with a bit of pink noise that's sounding a little bit too harsh, not too harsh, but a little bit too noticeable in the mid and tweeter range. And I'd use a little bit of the time delay, and I can kind of shift it to sounding like it's appearing between here, about there, and in between, the sort of thing. Whereas I know there's a speaker there. I'm not stupid. I can see it. But it kind of makes it sound like it's shifted slightly, and it's like, and then I'm kind of doing this, and then, moving around, circulating, and getting up and walking around, and having to listen and sort of thing, to see how the trickery is, And then the other thing is that you probably wouldn't notice if you were to put that two signals of that time delay, and you got it direct going onto the REM or true RTA, and you got the signal there, and you change the time delay, you actually see the frequency curve shifting. So if you've got two speakers or two output channels playing at the same time, they sum the signal up. So you play one signal goes up, put the other channel one in, signal goes up by 3 dB theoretically, and then you start messing around with the time delay, and then it gradually shifts the frequency a little bit more than it would when you're using the phase control, where you see a little bit of I can see that. Not too much in the mid and highs, but I can see a little bit in the lows. But when you mess around with the time, and you can see what it's changing with the frequency. And then the other thing is like, you got a single microphone. So if you were to put it on an RTA, so you just have to have all the other speakers off and just have 1 and 2 playing at the same time, and then mess with the and then think, maybe I'll put then now a microphone there and one over there, and use the pan pot on the mixer to send left channel there, right channel over that way, so you get then you do it in a stereo sort of thing, but it'll be still mono, and then adjust it again. Then you see a little bit more difference in the result with the right, okay, I can see it, it's just like the movie Predator. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, we can get this thing, Mac. You move around that way, and when you flush that son of a bitch, I'll nail him. We've got scores to settle. The Predator. I can't do the Predator sound. You ever notice, every time you hear a magpie outdoors, it sometimes it almost sounds like the Predator sound, and I'm looking up in the trees, like there's a laser on me, because it's a pretty similar-ish. I'm not sure that sound is. I don't really care for movies much now anymore, or sound effects, or how they, I only care about how it finally sounds in Dolby Stereo or Dolby Digital, whatever, and how you can participate with the sound. But I'm curious whether or not it sounds like an animal sound, but it suspiciously sounds like a magpie that's been a magpie sound that's been slightly manipulated slightly in the editing. Anyway, 35 minutes, 35, over and out.